Welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. This is the top 100 series, number 76. My name is Brent West. For those of you who have not watched our program before, that would be me, Jack the Bomber Lord. Next to us, right here. No, over here. Rodney West down below. And we're going to be telling you our picks for number 76 on the top 100 series. Rodney, by the way, heavyweight champion of the world, championship wrestling, not entertainment.
Of all the championship wrestling, all of it.
Number 76 on my list, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, or as he used to be referred to in Georgia Championship Wrestling for a while, Dugan. Make him very upset, tear up the whole area, mess up everything. And if you ain't careful, when he's coming over there, he will do that, and your knee will be underneath it, and that will hurt when the table falls down.
And then he looks at you like, oh. I remember that. That was like in... What was that? No, it was
Gainesville, I believe. Gainesville.
Yeah, he hit that table and it fell on you, and he just kind of looked back and just kept walking.
Very, that hurts. When a table falls down on you with the bell on it, and when all kinds of other stuff on it, it hurts. Especially when you're 10, 11 years old. It does hurt a lot. I think that was the same night I mashed my finger. So I really was having a bad night on that particular night. But let's talk about Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Let's talk about there's people and they do not like that Hacksaw Jim Duggan is in the top 100 wrestlers. They say he wasn't a great wrestler. He shouldn't be there. But here's the thing. Was Jim Duggan Les Thornton? No. Was he Ric Flair? No. But what he was a person, even from the beginning, knew how to connect with the fans. He knew it was his ideal to say, call me Dugan. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do this. It was all him. He knew how to connect with the people, and he did connect with the people in Georgia for a very small, limited amount of time, but he was getting over in Georgia. By just doing that, knowing that, hey, I can get people to hate me by only saying you got my name wrong and having a fit over it and causing a fit. He did that in Atlanta. He was getting over. He leaves there, and then he goes to Mid-South Wrestling. He gets over as a heel there. They do the same thing with him there. The Dugan deal there as well. They get that thing over. Jim Duggan gets over tremendously in Mid-South Wrestling. Not only is a bad guy, but when they turn him, he becomes maybe not as popular as the Junkyard Dog, but very close of getting over like the Junkyard Dog did. And then he goes to WWF. They didn't do nothing with him. Put a ho, and he was still over. He still was able to connect with the wrestling fans. That's what the reason I put him in the top 100, number 76. If you didn't ever see him in Mid-South Wrestling, then you don't know what it's all about. He was over, and what he could do, he got over doing it. So I believe Jim Duggan deserves to be in a top 100 just for his time in Mid-South, but also for the time he's in WWF, that all he does is walk out with a 2x4 and go, ho, and everybody in that building connects with him. Jack, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Exactly. He had that fan connection. And at the end of the day, that's what this industry is all about. You know, you don't have to be Lou Thez or Ric Flair. You just have to be able to connect. And Jim did that at a great level.
Yeah. Rodney, Jim Duggan.
Yeah, you have to admit, though, when he hit Andre between the eyes with that 2x4 and knocked him out, that was good stuff. That was great. That was super stuff. Yeah, Duggan was something. You're thinking when we first heard, well, Duggan's a big star down in the Mid-South. How could that be? How could that be? And we got down there, and we saw how it could be. He really fit in, and where Junkyard Dog was a specific type of wrestler, Duggan was almost. There was nothing in common between the two. They were totally two different individuals. They didn't copy each other in any way, shape, or form. And that's the way I think that Duggan was able to step out, because anytime somebody sees somebody that's getting over, they try to emulate them and try to copy them. And Duggan went from a completely different point of view. And Watts helped him with that for sure, with the 2x4, because that was always Bill Watts' thing with the 2x4. And he did really, really good. His response was almost equal to the Junkyard Dog, and especially the Rock and Roll Express for sure.
Yeah, he was so the folks who say, well, Jim Duggan doesn't belong in that position, they didn't see him during the time of Mid-South Wrestling, and drew a lot of money with Ted DiBiase, drew a lot of money with the Midnight Express, drew a lot of money with Kamala. So many ways they drew money with Jim Duggan, and so I say Jim Duggan deserves to be in that spot.
And Bill Watts, we have to give total credit to Bill Watts. He knew who he was and was able to produce him in such a way that made him a star, and still probably more remembered for Mid-South than anything he ever did.
Yeah, but Jim Duggan. All right, Rodney, I'll start with you. Number 76.
My number 76 is really one of the is a pick that I would say that is what could have been. This guy was, no matter where he went, he was a major star, and I never did. We didn't get to see him a lot. We didn't hardly any. In fact, when we were growing up, he was Dad. Dad's the one that really recommended, because we asked, "Who's Buddy Colt?" And Dad told us who Buddy Colt is. So by my 76 is Buddy Colt. And this is a guy that wherever he went, he was on top. He was Central States champion. He was a North American Tag Team champion. Georgia and Florida, he was four times the Florida heavyweight champion. He was the Florida television champion. He was the Southern heavyweight champion. In Georgia, he was 7 times Georgia heavyweight champion. He was a Macon Tag Team champion. But for whatever reason, they're leaving out. In Georgia, he was not only the Georgia heavyweight champion, he was the Georgia Tag Team champions at the same time. That's just so how strong he was at the time. Dad said he was outstanding. And if it wasn't, I believe, for the plane crash, this man would probably have been world champion. I don't doubt it at all. He was, from what all indications, and there's very little in his ring on the YouTube or whatever you can find, but Buddy Colt, just like I said, if it wasn't for the plane crash, we would probably be talking about Buddy Colt as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
I never got to see Buddy Colt wrestle except on a tape. I did get to see some video of him and he's going against Mr. Wrestling 2, but no, he's not Wrestling 2. He is Johnny Walker, the Rubber Man Johnny Walker. A tremendous match from Florida. Watched a lot of stuff, but never got to see him live. But Buddy Colt was so smooth in the ring. There's no doubt the smoothness of Buddy Colt. So, yes, I agree. Buddy Colt deserves top 100. Did he make mine? No, but I did not think about it because I really never saw him live and didn't see him enough except on videotape. Jack, Buddy Colt.
Oh, Buddy Colt is a little bit further down on my list. I love Buddy. And like you say, I always heard about Buddy. Always great stuff. Not only from those inside the industry, but fans who saw him. They love Buddy Colt. I mean, he had, been out of business several years when I was in Columbus, but his name still came up with fans that I sat with there in Columbus every Wednesday night. They were still talking about how great he was. And I was fortunate to be able to call Buddy a friend in these last few years. And if anybody's out there, his wife runs his Facebook page now, and she puts almost daily some unusual or unseen pictures of Buddy up that are just a real treasure to look at.
Yeah, we've got to look at some of those.
Great.
We
says now this is something that I can't believe, but it says that he was trained by Carl Crump.
Killer Carl Crump. Let me tell.
Nope. That's Baron von Raschke.
Oh, sorry. I was. How was Killer Carl Crump? I'm trying to. I remember him doing. He got the little eye thing,
He had that little monocle.
Because he was a German, wasn't he?
That's right.
was a German.
Right. Carl Krupp was was the one that trained him. Actually started it with Nick Goulas in 1962. And it was called Cowboy Ron Reed. And then he moves up to St. Louis. He wrestled up there, and then he goes works for the Funks, and then they made him the North American champion. And you know, when the Funks, if they like you, they put you on top, and that's exactly what happened. And then it was nothing but big time for Buddy Colt. I mean, from Florida to Georgia, anywhere he went, he was on top.
All right, Jack, I believe I know who your number 76 is.
I have been flashing a little taste of who it is. So we shall now talk about King Haku. Also known as Ming, also known as King Tonga. But I thought one of the best big men that was ever in our industry. And inside the industry, he is viewed as absolutely the toughest guy that ever was was a professional wrestler. Of all the guys you wanted to mess with in this world, Tonga was about 10 miles away is where you wanted to be if he was ever mad at you. And you better start running then. So he's a great guy, though. And, man, not a guy that you would say, hey, he won championships wherever he went, but always a significant part of the crowd, of the card. And, just believable. I think one of the last really believable guys that I can remember seeing.
Yeah, very and believe me, there's no one that was going to mess with him, especially that guy that he bit his whole nose off one time in some bar somewhere. Nobody's going to mess with Haku. Rodney, Haku.
After that nose incident, I'm not sure. He's the greatest thing I've ever heard of. He should be much higher on the list. He was fantastic. He was just the best I've ever seen in my entire life. Should be number one. I think
if I disagreed with it.
King, I think, Jack, you've insulted the man. You've insulted the man. I hope he bites your nose off.
Even if I didn't agree with Jack, I'm not going to say it. So I'm going to say, he was a good.
No, he was really. No, I'm just kidding. He was great. He was like we said, he was legitimate when he got out there, and really nothing that he was doing that looked bad that I can remember. Just tremendous wrestler.
All right, let's see what's going on. Dr. Philbo Grice is with us. Hello, great ones. Hey, we're great ones. Did not realize we were great ones. We are the Rocks. And by the way, they said that what's the girl's name? The world champion now. That just came back, redheaded girl. What's her name?
Becky
Lynch got talking about the great ones. Got the Rock's approval to do the Rock Bottom, and when she won the title, just thought I'd throw that in since we were the great ones. Hey, everyone, from Jason Monday. Robert Welch is with us, and he says, hello, guys. How you all been doing? We've been doing good. I hope you have as well. Wendy Harkins is with us as well.
Marita
Macoon.
Yes. I think we got it right.
He is my all-time favorite. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I believe that's who we were talking about during this time. Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Marita, where did you see him? Did you see him Mid-South, or was it WWE?
Dr. Philbo Grice, Hacksaw could connect with people. Yes, we were in. I have to tell you the story. We were in. I think it was Lake Charles, Louisiana. No, it was Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He came in late. Jim Duggan came in late. While he was late, I don't know. He got a $50 fine, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
He was already late anyway. So he goes, and the people are going nuts when he comes through the door. So he goes up, and he sees this guy with this bag, and we can all figure what's in this bag. He goes up, walks up to the steps, up to where that guy was. He grabbed a hold of the bag with the drink in it, and then goes, yo! The people go nuts. He goes back down, goes in the dressing room, again, Jim Duggan knew how.
That was the place to be buzzing. I mean, it was on fire. That whole night was just, and it just kicked it right off with Jim Duggan doing that. It was awesome.
It was tremendous.
Unscripted. Totally unscripted. No plan whatsoever. Just totally fantastic.
Just somebody had it and held it up, and he went right directly to it. He knew how to get himself over.
Sure.
And he knew how to connect with those fans, and he always did. And I believe if things didn't happen that happened to Jim Duggan and Iron Sheik getting caught together with substances, I believe Jim Duggan would got a bigger push in WWF. I think they would have done more with him, but I think they were afraid, well, if he did that once, maybe he could do it 2 or 3 other times. So I don't think he would have. Not my number 76, Pez Watley. Yes, Pez was tremendous. Pez legitimately could beat everyone as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Can you tell wrestlers he trained? We would know. I know. Did Pez train any wrestlers?
Trained a few.
I'm not. Do you know of any? Do you know of any people that?
I do. I just off the top of my head, I can't remember, but they were around that Chattanooga area. I'm pretty sure.
Because I don't remember. Rodney, you don't remember any that Pez may have?
I'm sorry, I don't.
I didn't know that he did. Number 76, Charles Abel Flower, Jerry Stubbs.
Yes.
He was much higher on my list, I think, in the 90s. But certainly Jerry Stubbs, if he would have left Southeastern Continental area and went to, he'd be way down on that list. He would be in the top 10. Jerry was that good. No doubt. Glenn Alan Shelton is with us. Glenn Alan Shelton said, Brody, I liked him. I'm guessing he's talking about Bruiser Brody. I was never a fan of Bruiser Brody. Just something about him I did not like. I guess he was just a brawler. And I never really saw him have great matches with anyone. Did y'all ever see him have just tremendous matches that you could go, hey, that was a tremendous match?
I don't know that I would put a rating system on anything he did, but you knew what you were getting, and he drew money. So.
Yeah, yes, he did. There's no doubt. You knew you were going to get a fight. There was no doubt when you brought him.
And I do have a Bruce Brody t-shirt. So.
Hello, Victor Nash is my number 76. Is the self-proclaimed strongest man in wrestling, Ken Patera. Yeah, Ken Patera got over everywhere but Georgia. I don't know why he did not get over Georgia. Just maybe bad booking because he could have, because he could do the interview, he could work. He was a tremendous wrestler. It just did, for some reason, it just didn't work for him there. I don't know why.
Who was the tag team strongest man in wrestling?
Jesse Ventura, wasn't it?
And Dino Bravo.
And Dino Bravo.
And they tried at first. Gene Oakland was trying to sell that as he did it, and he did. And Gorilla said, "No, he didn't. It was a tag team effort." And they tried, and Gene Oakland was going to try to play it. Yes, he made it. He made it. It was Monsoon said, "No, he didn't." It was good.
It was a tremendous deal. Richard Hood, hello guys. Dr. Philbo Grimes talks about Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hacksaw was the showman, which made up for his lack of skill. However, I never saw him as a heel. He tremendous as a heel, by the way.
Yep.
Was tremendous. So when he came to Georgia, we knew that he could be something, but then he's getting over and he's gone. I don't know what happened.
I'll tell you what happened. Bill Watts saw him and gave a call.
And he probably didn't like him as well. He probably didn't give him. He probably didn't have that wrestling.
Well, we have to remember, if you're not very skilled in the ring, he doesn't like you. Hulk Hogan, any other names we can point out?
Yeah, he didn't. He told Hulk Hogan he needed to go back to playing in the bands and stuff.
By the way, Ole posted a picture today of him smiling, which was probably the only picture in existence of Ole with a smile. I won't tell you the caption because he used a little bit of language. Shockingly, I know everybody's surprised about that.
Glenn Alan Shelton said he carried Mid-South, misused in WCW. Oh, yes, tremendously misused in WCW. But you know what? Again, Here's the thing. They try to make him a garbage man. That's what they try to make him, the janitor. And he made it work. He made it work. Regardless, he could make it work because Jim Duggan knew how to make it work. So it didn't hurt him because he still knew how to do it. He still knew how to get himself over. Yeah, WCW, they misused a lot of people. So similarities between WCW and AEW is just so close together at this point. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Buzz Sawyer, number 76. And I will agree with Buzz Sawyer. We saw Buzz Sawyer have the greatest matches, and we saw Buzz Sawyer have the worst matches.
That's right.
He was just one of those. He didn't have an in between.
No. Now, if we could have only filmed that match with Brad and Buzz Sawyer in Etowah, Tennessee, if anybody was there, you know what we're talking about. Just 45 minutes, just great match. Awesome.
Yeah, Buzz was good. Buzz had great matches with everybody, and Buzz was a powerful person. I mean, a lot of people say, well, he wasn't that tall, but man, it didn't matter who you were. He could pick you up and throw you, and you before you knew it, you were outside the ring. Paul Ante said Hexall tried out for the Toronto Argonauts. Is that what that is?
Argonauts.
Argonauts of the CFL back in the early 80s. They held their training camp here in what did we say that name was? Guelph at the University of Guelph. He would mention it later years whenever he was wrestling the area. He and his teammates
would frequent the local adult entertainment establishments. We call those strip clubs down here in the South. And to some, we call them, dang girl, put your clothes back on clubs.
I remember they had a huge fight happened in a bar one time, and he was talking about it in the dressing room. And it was Hercules Hernandez, I believe, and it was somebody else, and I can't remember, maybe Steve Williams. And somehow Jim Duggan was there at the same bar. Now, if they found that out, Bill Watts found out, they hit a fired every one of them. But Duggan threw something and hit Hercules in the back of the head, and he thought it was the guy next to him, slapped him in the back of the head, and Herc just beat the crap out of everybody, started a huge fight, and Duggan just slipped out the back because he thought, ooh, man, I didn't mean to do that. I just remember we were there. Herc was a mean person, by the way. He beat up about 10 cops in Alexandria, Louisiana. Hercules Hernandez did, Ray Hernandez, and he just beat them and beat them and beat them and beat them. And finally, they a cop that went to the matches and he worked the matches finally talked him down. He kicked the actual door off of the police car. He threw guys. And they were all standing around talking about it. They all were laughing about it, even though he beat a bunch of them. Tried to put cuffs on him. He broke them. Today they just shoot you, but at that point in time they were trying to take them down. So let's see where Dr. Phil Grice. When it came to the ring in WWE, it was not about championships. He seemed like his own show and was entertaining. Yes, he was entertaining. He didn't need a belt. All he needed is that 2x4, and they sold a ton of those little foam things and that. Oh, has become a. How's it going, guys? Rick Brooks, we're doing all right. Charles Bellflower said that Buddy Colt is way higher on my list. I believe Jax as well.
I probably would have had him higher on my list. However, I saw him very few times. I based my putting him on the list based on his reputation and from what I heard from other people, especially Dad. He had nothing but great things to say about Buddy Colt.
Jim Duggan is much higher up on my list from Victor Nash. People loved Hacksaw Jim Duggan or they hated him for some reason, and they just and he punches sometimes look bad, but he was over. People overlooked it that he was bad. Steve Austin's kicks would look pretty bad too, but he was over. So He got over. Awesome show, gentlemen. Doug Masters. Make sure you get over and see his show. He is still. You said there was some changes to it. Did he make his changes, Jack?
I haven't really heard, but I'm sure he'll have that posted on his page.
Well, go to his page, Doug Masters, and he does a lot of interviews with a lot of the wrestlers. So get over there and watch his show. Charles Bellflower. I saw him in person many times. He could draw really real heat. I'm thinking
that's what I heard. Yes.
Haku was absolutely great. Yes, King Haku. He is the king. It's a great one. I guess their WWE is about to crown the new king of wrestling. My number 76, Ming.
There you go.
All right.
Great minds and all that.
That's right. Pam McGee is with us. That's how I let my dogs know it's time to go outside. I do the hacksaw. Ho! Let's see. Kevin Penley. Did Haku wrestle for Nick Goulas' Prince Tonga? I believe he did, didn't he?
If he did.
Rick Brooks. I believe King Konga was the Barbarian, Jack.
Yeah, Tonga is what I said. I don't know that Konga was called King Konga, but I know he was Konga the Barbarian at one time. And it was Prince Tonga, not King. That was my bad. I was looking at my own shirt.
Dougie did not make the final cut and got into wrestling. I guess he was.
That was finished in what he was. Yeah.
All right. Pez trained guys at the WCW power plant. Yeah, but it was very quick, wasn't it? He didn't do it very long, did he?
I don't remember him being there very long. We need to get Sarge on here sometime, and he can tell us all the lowdown about that.
Duggan was awesome in NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida from Victor Nash. I don't know if I've seen the stuff that he did from there. I would put Jerry.
Remember, he was hurt or lost a loser match or something to that degree, and he worked from Florida for 6 weeks or so. And then
I'd have to go back and see what he did there. I would put Jerry Stubbs closer to top 25. I know of no one in Southeastern days who could flip as quickly and be over as Hiller.
That's right.
Jerry was tremendous. Just tremendous. Joel Bateman, Ken Patera, great man. We went back and forth on and really I never really met Ken Patera, but he knew our father very well, and he said great stuff about him when we messaged each other back and forth, and he was very nice about talking about our father. The Sheiks in AWA, Jerry Blackwell and who? Oh, Ken. That's right. They were the Sheiks. They were the tag team champions. I forget. They were the tag team champions. Number 76 on my list, Steve Richards, Killer Kowalski. He gets credit for training wrestlers after this. Yeah, a ton of wrestlers.
I think he had his training going while he was still active.
I think he did too, and he trained a lot of greats. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of greats, but Killer Kowalski, I will agree with that. Never saw Killer Kowalski. I don't believe ever wrestled. Did y'all?
Yeah, I have seen some stuff, but YouTube stuff.
Yeah,
Rodney, Killer Kowalski.
Yeah, I think there's stuff from the Chicago library that they've got posted on YouTube that he's on there. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he would be classified as the first bad guy in professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Richard Hood, Jim Duggan, Matt Bourne almost got into a shoot fight. Yes, have y'all ever seen this? It's available on YouTube if anyone would like to see it.
I don't think I ever saw it.
I don't know who started it, but one person did something that somebody else didn't like, and there was some cussing on each other. and
maybe Duggan threw something, hit him back in the head.
Matt Bourne's gotten in fights with a lot of people. So if I was going to give a person that may have caused it, I would say it was Matt Bourne. All right. So I think Matt Bourne and Arn Anderson got into a fight as well. So I think Matt Bourne liked to fight. Didn't Duggan bring a coal miner's glove? Yes, he was the guy that would bring the coal miner's glove. And the greatest thing he ever did, I thought was tremendous, is when they did the thing where he came in to go to hit Ted DiBiase, and he knocked Brad Armstrong out with the coal miner's glove. Tremendous stuff. It just showed. And Brad was so good. That's the reason Brad deserves to be in the top 100, because he knew what he was supposed to do. He knew how to sell it. Tremendous stuff. Tremendous stuff. Rodney?
Yeah, it was great. That I remember that, and when he handed it out to the audience, out in the crowd, and then they gave it back to him. That was good stuff. And it was like Duggan and the fans were in cahoots. They always are. They always were. That's that connection we talk about.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to be able to keep that connection, and that's the thing. He was able to keep it because he was able to wrestle in front of fans to see what got over and what didn't get over on a daily basis. 3 times on Saturday, 3 times on Sunday, most of the time. So, Michael Rollerson.
Okay.
There you go, Michael. I got you right there. Mickey Mayfield, number 76 is Terry Funk. I believe Terry Funk is way down on my list. I've seen some of the greatest matches I ever saw was Terry Funk. I saw Terry Funk, Brad Armstrong, and me and Rodney were there. Tremendous match in the Omni in Atlanta. Terry Funk went against Bob Backlund in Gainesville, Georgia, at the Gainesville Civic Center. We got to see that live. We've seen Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes. We've seen Terry and Dory Funk Jr. against Jag and Jeb Briscoe in the Omni. We got to see Terry Funk a lot during our time, and just tremendous. So Terry Funk way down further on my list. Rodney, he may or may not be on his list. He better be on his list. Or he's going to come just beat him.
Are you going to sing Ming? You're
going to sing Ming.
King Haku. I'll have to keep my nose. Thank you.
Terry Funk, Jack,
like
on your list.
At all.
Sure. Oh, definitely on my list. Way, way, way up on my list.
Yeah, Terry was so good. Terry was way before his time. Do y'all agree with that?
This is a guy that was actually bigger after he was world champion than while he was.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but he was great. Victor Nash says, can't wait for this weekend AEW. Evidently, you not get enough leg slaps, so now they're going to be there on Friday and Saturday night. You'll be able to get all them leg slaps and all the what's the things called again? Super kicks. That you can handle.
Victor, are you going to go? Because if you are, make a report for us. Let us know how
that would be awesome.
Let us know from wherever you're sitting. Do the kicks and the slaps coincide? I want to make sure this is just a TV sound issue.
Oh, all right.
Where Victor, where are they going to be? What arena they're going to be in Miami? The main, whichever. I don't know.
By the way, neither wrestling company, and I'll just have to throw this in there, neither wrestling company can sell no more than about 5,000 tickets. So, especially WWE, they've been running a bunch of towns, and 5,000 is the most they've been able to sell. No wonder. Who can afford those tickets? That's what I want to know. There's no way. Go to an independent wrestling show. Go watch it free on TV. Since they're going to give you all this product on television for free, why pay a ticket to go see them?
Let me tell you what. NWA is $4.99 a month. That's 4 hours, one show each week for that $5. Or you can spend what it would cost to send your kid to college for one show at Raw.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. You know, they don't draw. I'll talk about this on our next viewpoint because it's Cowboy Ron Bass, number 77. I don't know that Cowboy Ron Bass would make my list. I believe he might have been. He had decent matches, but what do y'all think about Ron Bass?
Depends on if he was good friends with King Haku.
There you go. Actually, he was.
Fantastic.
Now, I liked Ron for what he did. I never saw him as a main event guy. I thought he was a great mid-card guy. Again, he's. I mean, you knew what you were going to get out of his matches. He was never going to have everybody on their feet, but I thought he was entertaining in what he did.
But you got to remember, by the time the 80s come along, he had already wrestled since the 60s.
Yep.
So it wasn't like that Ron Bass was a younger guy as we were watching him. He had already wrestled for 20 years before he
had the perfect voice, the perfect accent to be the outlaw or cowboy, whichever you want to call him. Just the perfect accent for that.
Charles Bellflower. Like Buddy Colt with Roddy, I never saw Jerry Stubbs that much in Southeast. My memories of him was when he first started in Georgia, which he was tremendous then.
Yes, he was.
He was tremendous. Him and Mike Stallings both were tremendous wrestlers. I don't know what happened to Mike Stallings. He always thought he was great, but Terry and Dory Funk, better world champion. Terry or Dory Funk, better world champion. Dory Funk, I believe, would be the best world champion. Terry would lose his belt. He had to be very careful. Next thing you know, he'd leave the town without it. So he didn't wonder why they took that title away from him.
For that time period, I would say Dory was the better world champion.
Yeah, Rodney.
Not to say Terry wasn't great, but
Dory
was awesome.
But for world champion. Champion. I thought Terry Funk was a entertainer by far. Was a better entertainer, but Dory Funk probably the better wrestler. And only because I think Terry just wanted to do what he was doing. So not that he couldn't wrestle and do very well at it. Okay, I got you. I'm not for sure. I guess what we were talking about.
Yeah, he was also letting us know that it's going to be at the Knight Center, which I believe is part of the convention center down in Miami. So.
Is that the place right there next to the cruise terminals, that James L. Knight Center? Because there's one right there next to the cruise terminals. And ice cream bars. You can get you an ice cream bar at AEW. That's what keeps you happy.
Aren't they like $10 or $15 a piece though? I think I saw somebody posting that.
Wow.
I can buy a gallon of ice cream for $4.
Hey. No wonder the people in the arenas cannot, because they're eating the ice cream and they can't hear what's going on with them slaps. Yes. Matt Bourne, Rick Brooks. Matt Bourne also had a fight with Brian Blair. Blair claims he won that one as well as the one with Buzz. That's hard to believe. I might be able to believe the Matt Bourne one, but I'm not for sure about Buzz. It could have how Buzz was at the time, though.
Yes.
He could have been stomping M&Ms during that time.
It could happen.
And he rolled up behind them and took them down. So he was too occupied with the M&Ms falling on the floor. James L. Knight Center, Joel Bateman. Terry Funk, absolutely on my list. Yeah, Terry Funk, tremendous. Just so good. Terry Funk, Michael says Terry Funk very high on his list. Glenn Alan Shelton, you could set top of form for 25. That was 2006. Mickey Mayfield, whatever happened to Bugsy McGraw? What has that? Anybody? Is he still with us?
He is living, I think, around the Tampa area. They have a luncheon in Tampa once a month, I believe, or every other month. But Bugsy is a regular guy that shows up at those luncheons.
To me, I loved Bugsy McGraw. Even when he was in Georgia, he was so good, and he was getting over there. And I guess he left and went back to Florida. I guess that's.
Well, I saw some recent pictures in the last couple of months, and he looks fantastic.
I always liked him. He got over in Texas big time. Gary Hart was booking and got him over so good.
And the body slam. The body slam. That was the big thing there at that time.
Yeah, tremendous stuff. Richard Hood, Bass, and Barry Windham had a great angle in CWF.
Yep, they did.
Victor Nash, Rodney AEW with James L. Knight Center. I do remember Jerry Stubbs was called Chrome Dome. Yes. I've told that story. I got in trouble for that story. I won't tell it again. People have heard it. Yes. But Gordon Soley started that. And Gordon told me off over some stuff over that, so we won't even go there. Never forget when Ron turned on Dusty in Florida. Hilarious. Let's see. Victor Nash said no. Dory Funk Jr. on my list. I believe Dory Funk Jr. is on my list. I'm pretty sure he is. Bugsy worked in Detroit in the late 60s as the Brute, Rick Brooks said. Victor Nash, CM Punk bars are $10 a pop. Does CM get all that? CM Punk get all that money? No, maybe that's the reason he does those 10-minute boring interviews that he's doing now, because he needs them to go to the concession stand and pick up those bars. 2 minutes worth of, or 30 seconds worth. I'm going to be there Friday night. We're going to wrestle, but I'll be at the bar.
Yeah, his new thing when he comes out now, it used to be it's clobbering time. Now it's go get those ice cream bars.
That's right.
Yeah, yes, it's next to the cruise terminal. I thought it was. I thought that building was next to that. All right, the $10 a pop. Okay, CM Punk not on my list. No, CM Punk is not going to be on my list. I'm sorry. No, he won't be on my list. Bugsy was wild. Yes, he was. He was very good. Brent, you thinking about the Miami Beach Convention? So that could be it. I'm not for sure. I just know we went by it to get to the cruise terminal and when we go on a cruise out of Miami. I like Buzzy. Yes, he was great. To me, they got him over better in Texas than he ever been over anywhere. I thought he was Bugsy was awesome. All right, what was Rodney West's favorite arena? What's wrestling in? From Chris Hardesty.
Oh my goodness, there's so many. There's not just one. I always like smaller arenas under 5,000. Atlanta City Auditorium comes to mind. Chattanooga Memorial Auditorium is another one. Boutwell is another great arena. Just fantastic. Also, Shreveport's Municipal Auditorium was an awesome place. So yeah, that was some great arenas. Some are still with us.
Bugsy was big in the WWF in the 70s. Bugsy was managed by Lou Albano. I don't remember that.
I remember reading about it.
Kevin Penley said, according to Bugsy's book, he worked in a hospital. Wow. Jack, I'll let you talk about Pro Wrestling Tees.
ProWrestlingTees.com. Get your Pro Wrestling Inside and Out shirts. You can get your King Haku shirts. You can get your Bruiser whatever his name is. Bruiser Brody. And a plethora, so I can say that one, of all other kinds of wrestling companies and individual wrestlers. There's a ton of folks there. Go get them. Great products, great prices. Highly recommend. Plus,
and you can go get your Pro Wrestling Inside Out shirts there, or you can get them at another link that you can find on our Facebook page. Almost missed, but my 76, this is by Colton Martin, by the way. I almost missed, but my 76 is a little controversial, but my 76 is Sabu. I would give it to him just for the stuff that he did that was crazy.
I'll be honest, the only reason Sabu is not on my list is just the time frame. Because he really didn't get prominent until the ECW, and I'm sticking with 85 and below for the most part.
Sab, what do you think, Rodney Sabu? I think is he not maybe the innovator of the person that did the tables?
It seems like all that stuff came from ECW.
Yeah, so
I think he even did some dives, did he not?
I think he did. Yeah. Yeah, so he's not on my list. Sabu's not on my list, but I can understand why it would be on someone's list. The man was, what do they call him? Suicidal? I think that's what they called him, or something like that.
Suicidal maniac or something like that.
Yeah, and I could see he was. So I respect him for what he did. He put his body on the line, so I respect him for what he did in that respect. Victor Nash, it's about time for a show on Hacksaw Butch Reed. Yes, we'll have to do another. We started, I don't know, 1 or 2 videos. I'm not for sure where we got to. But Steve Dr. Death Williams on my list. I don't know that Steve Dr. Death Williams made my list. I don't know about you, Jack.
No, he did not. And I liked Steve.
Yeah, and we know Rodney may or may not be on his list.
May or may not, yes.
Sabu is on his list. Joel Bateman said this. Sabu, become a supporter, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you could become a supporter, but we're going to have a new way for people to become a supporter as well. Some people said they didn't want to. $2.99 a month. That wasn't something they want to do. So we're going to give you a new way to support us in a one time at a time. Suicidal,
Homicidal.
Man,
it's not like you're saying Bruiser Brody.
I had picked up Sabu from the airport. Hey, was his because I think his wife died, didn't he, or girlfriend?
Yeah, she did.
She had passed away. I thought I saw that, but let's see. Tanja Matthews is with us. How you doing? I think she's crying and laughing at the same time. So, sorry, Bugsy McGraw was ran a wizard.
Yeah,
in the WWE. I don't remember him being there.
I just remember pictures from back in the day in the magazine.
All right, folks. Next week, we will continue talking about Hercules Hernandez. We will next week, either at some point. Wait a minute.
Got to get that last comment.
Can we get a lady wrestler to co-host? I'm tired of looking around.
That's just wrong, but can we consider that?
Charles, your jealousy is showing tonight.
But anyway, next week at some point, either on our wrestling conversation, we're going to look at Hercules Hernandez at the start of his career. Tremendous athlete, and we'll talk about if he was good when he first started, and whether he was or was not.
Charles, I'm going to tell King Haku you said bad things about him.
Jack, Russell South, I believe it's Saturday, October 30th, big Halloween spectacular.
Yep, right there at ARAB at the Recreation Center. We got a huge night. Bring your kids, wear their costumes. We're going to have candy and an exciting night of pro wrestling. Got a ladies match, 7, I think, 6 big matches and all. Maybe 7. I don't know. We just keep adding stuff to this.
So tremendous amount of matches and tickets very reasonable. I believe they're $15. What's the ticket price?
$10 general admission, $15 ringside.
You can afford that. If you can go to a WWE event one time, you can probably go for the next 2 years to some other. I cannot believe somebody buy a ticket for $600. That's hard for me to believe. Hey, Ask Jack, where's
Oscar. From my understanding, they just don't have anything for her, which is surprising to me because it seems like they pay creative to create things for people. But
have you ever noticed the creative there? And we'll talk about this later. But you ever notice the creative there is the same? It's the same thing time after time. They'll just do the same thing with somebody. They just change the person and do the same thing they just did with somebody else.
Are you talking about Drew McIntyre and the Big E? Like nobody could see that coming last evening?
I don't know. Anyway, folks, next
women
week,
stole the show again, by the way. Raw, the women steals the show again.
Always steal the show. But I still believe, and I watched the Raw. I still believe WWE still the leader in sports entertainment. They say it, and it is true. They are the leaders of sports entertainment because they still kind of get it more than the other wrestling organizations do. What was I saying on next week? Join us live on Monday for the wrestling conversation, and we'll also look at number 75, maybe 74, but we know at least 75 on our list as we count down. Here I am, Casey Kasem, as we count down to the number 1 wrestler in the world. That was a horrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, I don't think I will.
Charles will be asking you to be replaced by a midget. Whoops.
We better get off of here before we get in trouble.
By the way, I've written your names down, Colton and Michael Rollerson. I'm also
All right,
going to
folks.
tell
Thank you.
King Haku, you said bad things about them too.
Is Nick Patrick's wrestling company still going? We'll answer that. Jack, is it?
As far as I know, he doesn't have a regular schedule for filming, and I know his dad's passing has. I think he's just kind of taking some time before they do another take.
All right. Thank you so much. We do appreciate you being part of Pro Wrestling Inside Out. If you've not went and subscribed, if you're watching on Facebook, you have not subscribed on YouTube, it's absolutely free. Go there and subscribe to the page. A lot of things coming up. A lot of videos that will be posted only there. And we want to thank you so much. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Jack. And thank you, Insiders. We'll see you next week right here on Pro Wrestling